So thanks everybody for being here today. My name is Josh Dansdale. I work for Northeast Iowa Resource Conservation and Development. We are here today with some of our speakers. We have Jeff Snow from 712 Initiative. We have a video from Kristen Egan, who is the Decorah Farmers Market Manager. And then we have Mallory Hanson, who is from Northeast Iowa RC&D as well. I wanted to take a moment to tell you which training you guys are here for. You guys are here with the Engage With Us tags, hashtags, and shares. Oh my. And this is one of 8 trainings that we will have over the course of the winter. And they're going to be short little half-hour snippets. Hopefully we can catch people and not have people be on too long and everybody walks away with a lot of information in a short period of time. And here is the list of the 8 trainings that are coming up. Feel free to find those on the Facebook page and online at the websites for our Iowa Valley RC&D and Northeast Iowa RC&D. We are working on this social media promotion grant with Iowa Valley RC&D and us at Northeast Iowa RC&D. We'll share contact information after the slides. We encourage you all to reach out if you have any questions or further comments. So I wanted to start off today with how we normally would have started off pre-COVID. So before we would have had this training done in person, and now that we are in COVID times, we are doing these all virtually now. But we wanted to keep the feel of having a host site still here and give those people an opportunity just to say who they are and what they're doing. So for us, we were going to be in Council Bluffs. So now we'll give Jeff Snow to talk about himself and what he's working on down in Council Bluffs. And if you could unmute yourself, Jeff, I think you should have that power.
Yep.
Perfect.
Great. I'm Jeff. Nice to meet you all. I work for the 712 Initiative. We are a community development organization in Council Bluffs. We do 3 different main things. We do property development. So we develop mixed-use buildings in our downtown area, and we also have started a single-family home renovation program. That's brand new, so we're right in the middle of finishing up our first house, and we'll remodel about 7 a year, and those will be placed on the market for folks in our area. Then the other arm is we activate and help fortify neighborhoods. So we work directly with neighborhood associations to get them civically active and try to promote the love where you live mentality in their neighborhoods. And then our third arm of our organization is myself, which is events and programming. And we do programming and events within our downtown and within those neighborhoods that we're working with. How we're affiliated with our farmers market is our farmers market is one of our programs. So I do all the organizing and delivery of the farmers market in Council Bluffs. We have set up a committee that helps me do the organization with that as well. And we're continuing to grow and try to find new avenues of ways to engage people in our farmers market. So we have about a 30 vendor market that happens on Thursday evenings. In a typical year, we would have live music every week, children's and family activities every week, and some sort of community-driven fitness or wellness opportunity every week too. So those things have been put on hold till hopefully, knock on wood, 2021, but that's pretty up in the air for us. So I've been in charge of that market for 3 years, and there are some just baseline simple things that I haven't had the opportunity to implement in our market yet that I'm hoping to do this year, which would be like the snap and double up bucks type of situation and some of those things. So that's my little gist on our farmers market, and happy to hear this is a great opportunity for people to get engaged with other market managers and learn from each other. So prior to 3 years ago, I had not ever organized a market, so it's brand new experience for me.
Thank you, Jeff. And for those that haven't, I would encourage all those to reach out or take a look at his website and seeing what the 712 initiative is doing down there. They're doing a lot of great and interesting things. And also wanted to have a little housekeeping. If people do have questions, please write those in the chat box, and then I will have those organized and we will get to those a little later. And if people wanted to reach out directly, we had some information here on Jeff on the page, and feel free to do that. We will now move into a little presentation done by Kristen, who had done this presentation a little earlier, so it's recorded. And we'll have that, and then again, we'll have time for questions when Mal comes on afterwards. So.
My name is Kristen Egan, and I'm the Farmers Market Manager at the Decorah Farmers Market here in Decorah, Iowa. This has been my first year of managing a farmers market, which is kind of a funny year to manage a market for the first time. There was certainly a fun learning curve, as there was, I'm sure, for all market managers this year. It's been a lot of fun, though. I've loved working with all of the vendors and finding a way for our market to continue to be an awesome place for our community to find local fresh food. We had as little as 6 and as many as 22 vendors in a given market, usually average somewhere around like 16 or so. On a typical year, I think it's close to double that. And so this year we really saw a change, but as did so many markets. We have about a little over 2,000 Facebook followers, or people who like our page right now, and a little over 300 for our Instagram page. And I really use those two platforms as the same. I typically will create a post for one and just have it automatically deliver to the other. I love to use our social media to help be in conversation with the people who love the farmers market. I see it as a way for us to tell them all about what is freshest and most in season that day. And it's been fun too to play around with different ways to ask questions in the post so that people who are interested in the market can stay engaged with it. Like, what is your favorite thing to do with apples? Or are you more of a pie person or a crisp person? Or, just little things that will have people thinking about the market and have it top of mind. I've also really loved going around and showing what is fresh at the market, right at the beginning of market. So I tend to schedule most of my posts for right when I get to market, and I can see what is new, what is fresh, because I don't know before I get to market either. And it's fun to just show what's available to everyone who follows us.
Yeah, one thing I thought you've done great was when you rotate through the different topics and things and posts. And are you deliberate with doing that?
Instagram has been a really helpful tool for me, actually, with that. And the reason is because on that platform, when you look at it on your mobile device, you see all of the pictures aligned. And so it's easy for me to see at a glance, oh, have I been posting a lot of red things lately, a lot of cabbages and apples, or what is the color scheme of my page? Because our farmers market is in a parking lot, that I was getting a lot of concrete in my pictures, which made them all look the same at a glance, even though they had different subjects in them. And so I quickly learned that color is something to pay attention to and shape is something to pay attention to.
Do you want to respond to customers that respond to the Facebook page?
Yeah, I think that our Facebook page is our second best way of having conversations with our customers. I think in person at the market is the best way. And I found that it's been a great way to directly connect customers to vendors that they love. I'll get a message or a comment on something being like, hey, who had the kolaches last week? And I'll be able, I want to make a special order, and I'll be able to connect them with that vendor and send business their way, essentially. I think Facebook has been a worthwhile avenue for our market because given the amount of followers that we have, which is about 2,000 right now, that's just, I don't have any other megaphone that can reach 2,000 people. Maybe writing something for our local paper, but I find that the 21st century convenience of being able to write something in 5 minutes, choose the picture that I want, and send it to 2,000 people on my mobile device is just a lot easier. Not to say I don't do our local paper too, because I think it's important to use both, but because of that, Facebook has been really good for us in that way. And to be able to tag other businesses and use hashtags to further that even beyond our followers. I try to make it very worth the while for vendors who do take time and energy to run a social media account by making sure to tag them and have it be a really positive experience, have the market amplify their voice. And hopefully if they have a good enough experience with that, and if vendors who are considering starting a social media page are on our social media page and see that we're able to do that, that could just be further incentive for them to start their own, whether that be Facebook page or Instagram or whatever that might be.
What was your process for your hashtag usage?
Yes, let's talk about hashtags. So I'm kind of more of a social media Luddite than I might seem like, and it took me a really long time to like understand the hashtag games. But it's just a great way to do shout outs to like anything and everything. For one example, it's like hashtag Decorah, because our market's in Decorah. Well, anyone who loves Decorah, like we do, you know, is following this hashtag. And so since we're part of that hashtag Decorah like community by using that hashtag, then that shows up in other people's feeds. And the way that I've come to some of those is just by having conversations with other people in our community to like have a conversation over at the Chamber of Commerce to see what hashtags they use, or to have a conversation with local farmers to see what hashtags they use for their own social media accounts. I've been having a lot of fun too, just saying like this week at the market, and then employing the use of emojis to just like find an emoji for every food item or non-food item that we had at the market, because it's another way to make a post like really visual. So there's just this list of emojis, but I'll like categorize them, so I'll have on one line like all my vegetables that are at the market, and I don't know, people can easily identify an apple and be like, oh good, apples are there, I'm gonna go get some apples, you know. So that's been kind of fun too. To start a Facebook page, I would focus first on getting, once you've got all of your information on your page, you know, the way that you would set up any other page, maybe have a little photo shoot. Go around at your first market or your second market and just like really take time capturing some quality pictures of things that you think represent your market. Try to include some faces of vendors or shoppers that feel okay being on social media. Definitely try to get a lot of product images and maybe a couple showing the atmosphere of the market, whether that's a sale happening or some entertainment that you have there. But find different photos and see if you can put together a collage of photos that you feel like expresses what your market is about. Because once you have good visual content on there, social media is just such a visual thing, then I just think that that helps really breathe life into a page that could otherwise just be, you know, your hours of operation and the email to get a hold of you. You know, it could otherwise be kind of a dead space, but once you breathe a little life into there, I think people see that like, oh, this is an event in our community that's really alive. And then just staying up to date with what is up to date at your market through regular posts. And they don't need to be like earth-shattering, the most creative ever posts. Like it could just be a picture of an apple, you know, a bag of apples, that's the first bag of apples of the season maybe to hit your market. And you say, what's your favorite thing to do with apples? You know, that could be your post. It's engaging. Juicy apples are delicious. Everyone likes to look at them. They're shiny, they're beautiful, they're colorful. You know, it doesn't take much. And we're really lucky as farmers markets that food is so beautiful to look at. So you already have something marketable. All you got to do is take some good pictures of it. And if you think you're not a good picture taker, find someone in your community who loves to take pictures at the market. Those people exist. And you don't even have to think about it as marketing. If sales like turns you off, because sales kind of turns me off. It's like, ooh, like I do care about these businesses and I really want to help them, like, you know, have the most sales that they can, but I don't want to feel like a salesperson. You don't have to. Just be like a farmer's market enthusiast who's sharing what you love. That to be said, I would also really encourage market managers to consider not using just Facebook, but to also expand onto other social media platforms, because different people use different platforms. And there is a way that you can make the most of your efforts as the social media coordinator, for your market, to be able to post to one and have it automatically go to the next, and then be reaching different audiences with the same amount of effort. And so I do that with Instagram and Facebook working together, but I know you can do that with other social media platforms too, Twitter, or whatever you like to use. The Decorah Farmers Market is both on Facebook and Instagram, and we hope you can check out our pages there and like us or follow us. If you want to reach out at all about any social media things, or you just want someone else to look at your page and give it a pair of fresh eyes, you can definitely reach out to me at decorahmarket@gmail.com. And if you want to visit our market and see what it's like off the screen and in person, you can visit us from 3 to 6 on Wednesdays and 8 to 11 on Saturdays from May to October. So hope to see you there.
Great. And just so everybody knows, this training will be recorded and it will be made available online for others to view at a different time. So, all right, and next we will have Mallory Hanson.
Good afternoon. Well, I told Josh after watching this video that Kristen basically did my job for me. She is absolutely fantastic at talking about how she uses social media for the Decorah market. And she really actually helped lead a lot of what we're going to talk about here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So really, I'm just going to talk about some takeaways from some of the things that Kristen said in the video. And like Josh said, you can go back and watch it later too. We'll make sure that that's accessible for you. So social media, so why should you do it? Well, one of the biggest reasons why is the fact that it is free. There are paid options that you can use when you're using social media for your business, but overall, it's a free marketing resource for you and very low cost and also far reaching. So as Kristen mentioned, it's a great way to connect to your customers, your vendors, other partners. It's just a fantastic, as she put it, megaphone that helps Decorah reach over 2,000 people. And I'm sure some of you have more or less than that, but it reaches more than just the people that are following you. And so not just your inner circle of people that follow your market or your business will see the things that you're posting on your page or your account, but it will reach their friends and their family and the people that follow them. So social media is just a great, really virtual word of mouth marketing tool for you. And it can be quick and easy if you're set up for success. That being said, I don't find it to be extremely simple if you don't already have a plan in place and some content planning done ahead of time. And we'll talk about that a little bit. So the struggle with social media is that there are hundreds and hundreds of platforms that you could be on, depending on what country you're in. But really, there's a big 3 that we like to talk about, and that is Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. Snapchat is certainly coming to the forefront of the world of social media, as well as YouTube as well. So those are something we're talking about, but really we're going to focus on Facebook and Instagram for the most part today. And we can talk about any questions you have about any of those at the end. So this is just a little overview for you, and don't worry, you don't have to madly write this down. We'll make sure you can access this presentation later. But this is just some basic information about each of these big 3 for you to keep in mind. So Facebook is really made to be a social profile. It's literally a book of faces. And users have friends. And then pages also have followers, if you will. It's available, at least as of last year, in 101 different languages. So it's very far reaching across the country and across the world. It has 68% of social media users on it. So that means that 68% of people that use social media in any way are on Facebook. And that's a huge number. And that's part of the reason that when people ask which one to start with, I tell them Facebook's a good one to start with. Something that always surprises me and other people is that Facebook is actually popular among a younger demographic. Actually, the most popular user group is 18 to 29, which surprises a lot of folks. That doesn't mean that's the only people on it. That just happens to be the largest group. And it's about half and half male and female usage. So that just gives you an idea of the demographic you're looking at. Instagram is a similar platform, although it's really focused on photo sharing and visuals more than content itself or more than words. And users have followers. Fun fact, it is owned by Facebook. So it has a really good integration between the two, which is why I have a note on this about cross-posting between the two. And Kristen actually talked about that. So what she does is she posts on one of them, probably initiates her posts on Instagram, I would guess, and then automatically shares those to Facebook. You know, sometimes it's good to think about varying your content between the two because oftentimes your followers might be the same people on both platforms. But if you're looking for an easy way to try two different platforms with two different demographics, these two are a great fit together. And you'll see that 35% of social media users on Instagram, still quite high, popular among 13 to 17-year-olds. And generally, I say now it's very highly used by high schoolers as well as college students. Doesn't mean that others aren't on it, but that's the biggest group. Again, about 50-50 male and female. And then Twitter is a whole different ballgame in itself. It's really a microblogging platform, and I like to say it's very short-lived content. So it's really meant to be live, interactive information as it's happening. So it's not quite as visual, although it's becoming that way. There's certainly videos and photos being shared, but really it's made to interact. Let's say an example would be, I'm at the market right now, and there are some beautiful apples here. And then that content will be seen very briefly, and then it will be gone. And so it's just fast-paced. We won't talk about that as much today. It's certainly worth taking a look at, but I think that Facebook and Instagram are certainly a better place to start if you're just starting out with your social media for your market or your business. All right, so the content, what should you post and why? So the why really is, at least Kristen touched on this, you want to be sparking conversations. You want to be creating those interactions between yourself and your customers as well as between customers. So using it as an interactive tool is really the best way to create engagement. And again, with the apples, Kristen used this as a great example of how to get people to start commenting and talking. You know, what's your favorite thing to do with apples? And a lot of people just really like to share their opinion. If you're on Facebook yourself, you'll find that there's a multitude of surveys about the things that you like. So people love answering questions about themselves. So use that to create engagement. And the more comments that you get, the more that post is going to reach a larger audience that's outside of that inner circle of your followers. And also, Kristen mentioned sales and selling the experience. So a great thing to do with your page and your accounts is to let customers know what's available that day. Like she said, it's different every week. So you could do that by posting with emojis like she talked about, or you could even do a really brief live video of walking around the market that day, whether you're a market manager or a vendor. You could do those things to let people know, and that's a great way to catch a last-minute audience for the market. And so I really liked that suggestion from Kristen. She also mentioned just having a library of photos that shows interaction at the market, people enjoying time, as well as photos of your products. That's what really will set you up for an easier experience when you're managing your social media, is if you have that multitude of photos to choose from ahead of time, especially in the off market, because you aren't going to be able to take as many pictures then. And this was probably my favorite part about Kristen's video is she talked about visuals and using variety and color. It's really fun to think about using Instagram, especially as a tool to look at the kind of content that you're posting. So this is actually just a couple of screenshots of the Decorah Farmers Market Instagram account, and you'll see the variety here of content and types of posts. And it really gets at that point that not all of your content has to be high quality professional photography or videography. It can really just be a snapshot of a flyer, or a quick picture of some vegetables, or my personal favorite, a collage of dogs at the market. You know, it's good stuff. Pets create a lot of engagement. And we'll just touch briefly on this tags and hashtag beast. So this is a great way to boost your content, and this is really where higher level social media comes into play. And I'm sure a lot of you already know these things, but if you don't, tags are generally how you would interact with other businesses and vendors and partners that are already on either Facebook or Instagram. Facebook specifically, the way to tag them is generally using an @ symbol. And a little tip that I put here is that sometimes that just doesn't work very well, especially on your phone. I don't know why, it's just finicky. Josh and I were talking about this earlier. So it tends to be, in my opinion, easier to do on a computer if you have access to that, because it's just easier to make sure you're tagging the right people as well. And hashtags, well, you're using the pound symbol, and it's sort of hard to explain hashtags, and Kristen touched on this. It's anything goes with hashtags. You can make a hashtag out of anything you want. It's great for shout outs. Basically, they're more useful on Instagram than they are on Facebook. Doesn't mean you can't use them on Facebook, but Instagram is what Kristen was talking about when she talked about people following hashtags. So following the hashtag Decorah is kind of an Instagram thing. And one note that I just always like to tell people is always look up a hashtag before you make one up. You may find that it's used for something that maybe isn't appropriate or maybe associated with negative content. So you want to double check that anything you use isn't being used in a way that you don't want to represent your market or your business first. And you can do that by just putting it in the search bar on Facebook or on Instagram and just check it out. And generally hashtags, they don't have spaces between words. So you just create a word or a phrase. So that's how those work. And then sharing, I'm sure if you have pages, you all know how to do this, but it's a really great way to create some content without having to work too hard. You can share other vendors or other markets content, even if you're collaborating on anything, and encourage others to share your posts. I didn't say this here, but something that I always encourage is if you're sharing someone else's post, always add a comment of your own to that. It will make it go further and seem more realistic and seem like you're really putting effort into that content yourself. And encouraging comments on different posts and shares is a really great way to get it to go further. And if you're willing and able to do this, using your personal page to boost your business page is a great way to do that. So with that being said, I'm just going to give you a few major takeaways here at the end of the training before we take any of your questions here real quick. A few things to remember. Start with one platform, branch out later. Get good at one. Good visual content is key. I loved Kristen's comment at the end that you're lucky that food is so beautiful to look at. It gives you a great, great source for your visual photos and your videos. Do regular posts to make sure that it looks like you are up to date, so your page isn't sitting there unused. It doesn't have to be all that often, but just make sure that you're keeping content fresh. Being enthusiastic, of course, it should be obvious, but you know, you don't have to be a salesman necessarily, but just be excited about what you've got. Interact with others. This is where those tags and shares come into play, and bring in some of that larger reach and local and regional support. That's where hashtags can really come in handy. And really the basic idea behind social media is keeping it real. You know, it doesn't have to be earth-shattering content like Kristen mentioned. Really, people appreciate real human interaction on social media. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't have to be difficult. So I know that was a crash course.
Great. Thank you, Mallory. And again, if you have questions, please put those into the chat box. We can get to those now. And if you have some later, here is the some of the other coworkers and cohorts contact information. Feel free to reach out to those. So this is a partnership that we are working with Iowa Valley RC&D located in Amana to provide these 8 trainings as part of a larger program of funding from the USDA Farmers Market Promotion Program grant that we received a few years ago. And there will be a few other opportunities for market managers and or vendors to have additional assistance with coaching throughout a full season or a shortened season that will be coming up here in the next year. After, oh, yep, I jumped ahead on you, sorry. Yep, so we will have an accelerated program coming up in the winter, and then we will have the full season that will operate from May through October. And this is just a really great opportunity for interested market managers or vendors to have that one-on-one assistance just to help walk through everything from starting the page through posting to creating content to the analytics and insights of Facebook and how posts work throughout the season and how they're engaged with, and just providing that really detailed information over the whole course of a season we found can be really helpful for a lot of different folks. Looks like we do have one question here from Brenda. That is Facebook still set up that your posts will not go to everyone that has liked your page unless you pay to send out the posts to more people?
Oh, that's a good question. So Facebook's algorithms are definitely somewhat of a mystery at times. A lot of it depends on how that person's personal account is set up and whether or not they've chosen to follow your page specifically. So just because someone likes your page or account doesn't necessarily mean they're following it. So a great thing to do is encourage the people that have liked your page to follow it, and that will make your content come to the top of their feed more regularly. People can also choose to unfollow accounts. I know there's a lot of people that do that if pages post too much or too much similar content. So they'll choose to see it less. So a lot of it has to do with those folks, as well as the kind of engagement that you're getting with your posts. So the more comments and shares and interaction you have, the more frequently your information is going to come to the forefront of people's feeds, specifically on Facebook. Certainly paid sponsored posts, if you will, are a great way to get outside of your circle. I wouldn't recommend spending a lot of money on it unless you have a really specific event or reason to do so. But you can choose how much to spend to do that, and it's a good way to get it up there. Just keep in mind that people will be able to see that you paid for it, and so it shows them that it's paid content. Not that that's negative, it just shows up as more of an advertisement kind of post to them.
Great. And again, this will be recorded and made available for others to watch at a later date as well. So we have that. And if there is no other questions, Mel, we have one more slide.
Oh, sorry.
Yep, no problem. I thought that was the end. So yeah, if there's no more questions, please feel free to reach out and like the 712 Initiative Farmers Market page there, the Council Bluffs Farmers Market and the Decorah Farmers Market. And again, thanks to Kristen, Mal, and Jeff for joining us today. I really appreciate it. And I know the Farmers Markets is just wrapping up, and we had a really interesting year, and hopefully that 2021 will be a lot easier for all the folks. So